Hi UNCW, welcome to Port City Spotlight. I'm your host, Mikaela Fleming. Today I'll be sitting down with Communication Studies professor, Dr. Julianne Scott, and a common theater major, Sean Owens, to talk about UNCW's brand new storytelling troupe. Thank you guys so much for coming in to talk to me today.
Oh, of course. It's
Thanks for
great to be
having
here.
us.
So, Dr. Scott, you're the professor of this class. Can you tell us a little bit about the class?
Sure. Well, the class is Com 211, which is storytelling and culture, and it actually meets a lot of university studies requirements. So there aren't prerequisites to get in. Anyone can enroll. And what we focus on is how do stories create identity and also collective identity? How do they create culture? And up until now, it's been a class that was fairly intact in the classroom. But this semester, I was awarded an ETEAL grant to make it an applied learning opportunity. So what we decided to do was create an autoethnographic theater troupe for social justice. Now, autoethnographic means going into your own life and analyzing the stories that you see as defining you, and how do we learn about culture through that. And so students were given a lot of different prompts and then went through the class and chose a story that really for them exemplified the importance of social justice issues in our world today. And we're going to perform it here on campus on April 5th, and then we're also going to perform it in downtown Wilmington at Old Books on Front Street on April 19th.
Awesome. And Sean, you are a student in the class, which means you're a performer of the troupe.
Yes.
And as I said before, you work in theater and comm. So how does this class tie in both communication and theater?
So I am an actor, which is really nice because I come from a little bit of that background and have some of that experience. So I think that gave me a little bit of an intro into this class because I kind of came in able to work and do some of those monologues more easily, more comfortable. But at the same time, it's autoethnography is more of a communication studies side of it. And so it's a really great way to tie together my two majors and to get some experience that I really wouldn't have gotten any other way. So it's a lot of fun. And honestly, doing the social justice side of it is really cool because it's not just a class that's fun to be in. And it's not by any means just an easy class like, hey, just come in and do whatever and you do fine. It's really challenging, and I think it's helped a lot of us to grow a lot.
Dr. Scott, what are some of the themes or the topics that are discussed in the show?
Well, there's such a diversity of topics, which is something I was a little bit nervous about when we first started, because when we're asking people to look into their own lives, you can't just choose, you can't assign them what to look at. And still we had such a diversity of performances. We have people who are looking at domestic violence. We have people who are looking at gender identity. We have people who are looking at sexuality, people who are looking at mental illness, people who are looking at bullying, people who are struggling with how we look at rape in our culture. We have all these different kinds of ways to look at the world. Some of the race stories are so nuanced and interesting to really see race in so many different ways. So it's been such a huge span of life experiences from the different students in the class. I've just been so impressed.
Sean, can you tell us a little bit about your story that you perform?
So my story is, we were actually given a prompt in the class, and it was, describe a time when you either made the world a better place or when you didn't. And I'm kind of known throughout my friend group as kind of being one of the people that, you know, talks to everyone, and people talk to every once in a while when they're looking for advice. And so mine is actually a story that happened to me freshman year of college when a friend called at 3 in the morning and was really struggling with her depression, and kind of how I handled that and how she was working through that, and at the same time how people around us reacted to it. Because in our society, a lot of people just don't understand depression. They don't quite know how to work with it or work around it. You know, we all struggle a little bit in our own ways with different problems or different things in our lives. And I think sometimes we forget that other people struggle too. And so my story tries to explore that and explore how we can interact and how we can make it better and easier for them.
And so, like you said before, the prompt was, when have we helped and when have we not? And that kind of what's, I want to ask, the logo and everything, it's everyone around the sun, and it's called Just Us. How did the class come up with the logo and the picture?
So actually, we've split the class into a few different teams, and so one of the teams was the logo team. And I think that really what our logo kind of embodies is us coming together, holding hands and telling our stories together to shed light on the things that people go through, and to present a unified front and say, look, we can make this better for people in the future. It doesn't always have to stay this way. And these stories really do need to come to light, and I think that's what the sun represents for a lot of it.
I was so impressed with how the students in the class, because we didn't have a troupe when we began. When we began, we didn't have a name yet. We were still in that position of forming. We were just a class that was going to become this performance troupe. It's that idea of having students at the 200 level come up with the name Just Us, which is a play on social justice as well as unity together, and then come up with a logo that people really respond so strongly to. I've had a lot of people say, what is that shirt? When they see it, even my 4-year-old is like, that shirt's beautiful. Can I have a shirt like that? So there is something about it that does, I think there's warmth, there's bringing together, which while these are some dark topics, there's just so much hope that I think has come from when we have had some guest audience members that I think it really does embody what this show's about.
And what's exciting about our comm department is there's so many different layers of comm. There's the focus in marketing, advertising, performance. Do you feel like this class kind of accompanies all of that?
Well, it does in a lot of ways, and that was something that is a little bit nervous about, again, because you don't need to have taken anything in advertising to be a part of this class. You don't need to know how to write a press release. But in reality, if you're a performer, if you're out in the community trying to make it as a solo actor or coming through and doing some of your own work, you are your own advertiser. And you do issue your own press releases, and you do design your own media. So seeing that where those different pieces fit in together in the context of performance, I think has been great for our students, and those that really have a knack for writing a press release or making a logo are now excited about those PR and advertising classes they can take later.
And at the same time, just from a performer's standpoint, this is stuff that I haven't quite gotten a chance to get into as much. And so this has helped me to grow a lot and kind of realize how much goes into some of the shows that I'm a part of. Because as an actor, a lot of the times it's easy to go, well, I learn lines and I rehearse, but there really is an entire side behind the scenes, not just the crew or the work that everyone is doing in the background, but as far as building the logo, building an image in the community, contacting members of the community, and the people in our class have just really worked hard to build that and work on that.
And how did the students learn a lot about social justice? I know you guys brought in some people to talk to them about special education or civil rights issues. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Sure. Well, we're going into this. I myself am a diversity and gender and social justice scholar. That is part of my work, which is why, in a lot of ways, this idea of having a troupe that is out to make the world a better place and pursue equity and justice is one of the highlights of my career. I'm so excited about this class. But we did need support. We needed people who are experts in different areas to come in, partly because as a community performance, we don't want to be so insulated until we go out. We want to be going out the whole time. And in this way, so we had professors come in from special education, specialists come in from higher education, who can work with like, well, what is the audience and age for your show? As well as we were very lucky to have a local, very persuasive civil rights attorney come in and really talk to us about what does it mean to be pursuing justice in contemporary culture, and not just broadly anywhere, but right here in Wilmington.
Do you think this troupe is going to continue on into further years? Because we have other communication storytelling troupes as a part of the comm department, or do you see it adapting and changing?
Well, that is a question. I really like the name Just Us. I like it a lot. And I think the students coming together have shown, because there were some questions, it's like, gee, should there be a performance troupe that goes out in the community that doesn't have prerequisites or auditions? And it's like, well, I think we have many students in this class, this is their first time on stage, and they tell their story truly and authentically. and yet still polished in a performance to show that this is something that can continue and continue as intact class. We have not had rehearsals outside of class. The students have been able to work on their own outside of class, like they work on homework, but at the same time, they can be in a show that is really honoring what class time and how much time that's supposed to take, which I think has been great. So I think we will continue. We are very fortunate that Pier 601, which is the department's local advertising firm and marketing firm made up of advanced students in integrated marketing, communication, advertising, is willing to take all of UNCW Storytelling on as a client in the fall.
Oh, wow.
So when they do that, they will explore the logos we've been using, the names we've been using, and seeing how do we want to brand all of our troops so they're very individual and also part of University of North Carolina Wilmington Communication Studies and UNCW Storytelling. So.
Well, I know it's going to be super exciting, the show, and I would love for you to tell UNCW where they can go to see the show and where they can go online to learn more information about storytelling here at UNCW.
Sure. Oh, me. Okay. So the show will be on April 5th, right here in Lutzy 125. That's a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And then we're going to do another performance at Old Books on Front Street, which is downtown, and that's at April 19th at 7 o'clock. Both of those shows are free and open to the public. If you would like to learn more about UNCW Storytelling, that would be www.uncwstorytelling.org.